First, let's talk about strings. What is a string? First of all, a string is a sequence of characters. This seems maybe obvious to people, but a sequence of characters is very simple in the eyes of the computer, right? It's not words. It doesn't see any meaning to it. All it sees are strings of characters or sequences of characters. Whether they're spaces or punctuation or letters or numbers, it really makes no difference to the computer. And the only meaning that exists there is that the meaning that we give to that sequence of characters when we create a program that does something with it. So it's really important to remember that, because we might look at a string and say, oh, that's a person's name, or that's a place, or that's a color, or some other object. And we see those characters and we as humans give them meaning. And with a computer, there really is no meaning there. It's just a sequence of characters. It's a 1 and then a capital B and then a period and then a space. And that's all the computer sees. So it's important to remember that, because as we work with strings, it's important to remember that the computer doesn't see words or sentences or any kind of meaning beyond a sequence of characters. And so that's how the computer treats a string. In JavaScript, a string is enclosed in single or double quotes, and the difference between a single and double quote is really minimal, and we'll get into the details of that in just a minute. Also important to remember that the sequence of the characters in a string doesn't change. You cannot change the sequence of characters in a string. Now, if I have a variable, let's say I have a variable called str name, and it contains a sequence of characters. Those characters can't change, and I can't change the order of those characters in that string. What I can do is replace the contents of that variable with a new string, but you can't change the sequence of characters in a string, if that makes sense. You can replace it, but not change it. So those are all really important things to remember about strings. Now, in terms of the single or double quotes, they really both do the same thing. And the important thing is when you're using single or double quotes, to try and be consistent throughout your whole script, or if you have a group of scripts, say a website that you're developing, you want to try and be consistent, because that helps you avoid confusion and errors. The other thing you need to understand about single and double quotes is that if you have quotes inside of quotes, then it's good procedure or proper procedure to alternate them. So in this sentence here, if it says str text equals he said hello and then he laughed, you can see that the outer quotes are single quotes that encompass the entire string, and that inside the string I have double quotes that encompass or enclose whoever the subject of this sentence said. So that is how you would use single or double quotes. And in all of these cases, it's really important to make sure that you have a closing quote for every open quote. You always want to do those in pairs.